folks. Welcome back to the iHealth channel, iHealth Radio, the Fit and Fab channel, the NBC Network, The Works with your host, Hurricane H. New day, new show. It will be a great topic today, a topic of, that can be inspiring, a topic of success, a topic of healing and, holistic healing with our guest today, who is a doctor in chiropractic medicine and is also a life coach. So we have a little bit of a combination today. But the first thing is that our guest today has a unique story. Well, it's not unique. I mean, it happens. It is out there, but he'll share with us his journey because I think it will be totally inspiring for a lot of people out there. So, without any further ado, I have with me Francisco Guerrero. Dr. Francisco Guerrero. Welcome to the show.
What's up? It's nice to be here. You can call me Francisco. You don't have to call me doctor. It's just a title. I'm not very attached to that title. My ego is not caught up in it, but I appreciate you. Yeah, I heard it. Yeah, everybody says that. No, it was a struggle to go through the schooling system. It's the schooling system. I started from the public school system. I guess I should start from the beginning.
Go for
my
it.
Parents. I'm a first generation Mexican American. My parents came from Mexico, from Querétaro and Guerrero, and they crossed the border. I don't know how many years ago, and now they're citizens. So they did it semi the right way. But yeah, first generation, grew up in like the slums of Dallas, grew up with the rats like crawling next to my head and my grandma just hitting them with the broom. Like I've had stories like that, cockroaches in the apartments, and went to the public schools here in Dallas, DISD, which, it's government ran. It's not the best educational system. Got through that. I was very reluctant. I was very blessed to go through a decent public school. It was a Montessori school, so it wasn't the worst school out there. And, I became a doctor out of it. So still grateful from where I came from, because we do learn from those painful memories, those hard times. If you don't really have those hard times, then it's kind of hard to be grateful, even though statistically, like the rich kids, like the people that are in better schools, they do better financial wise and success wise. But if you actually make the decision to change your life and have just stay focused and be goal oriented in whatever it is in your life. I wanted to be a chiropractor since high school. I went through the loops and the motions, and I got through it. So if you just stay focused and have clarity in your life, then you can do whatever it is that you want in life. And that's how I did it. So I'm still going that direction. I'm not done yet. We're never done. None of us are done. So yeah, that's the biggest thing. Like, just stay clear and just work on your goals daily. So yeah, it's a little bit about me.
That's a lot, not a little bit. There's quite a bit in there, man. What a story. And again, it is a story that is inspiring. There's quite a bit of challenges that you've experienced, and frankly, a lot of people have similar situations, and that's why I really feel that your message can resonate with a lot of people. And also, this is a worldwide show, which means that people that could be anywhere in the world can also see their value. I mean, the American dream is still the thing that people think of, but it is not as easy as people think, and it does take some sacrifice, some work, and depends on how you get into the country and so on and so forth. Things could be hairy, and the story of your parents, coming from Mexico across the border, that's a tough one. And we hear about that now in the news, and all the crazy stuff that you hear about the politics and all the stuff. So it's pretty intense. And so it is an experience that is a tough. Now, of course, they made it, through. They gave you the opportunity. Now, again, you said it. You've gone through some of the, I guess, the worst, system, education, pretty much. I mean, and by the way, this is not just in Dallas. It's everywhere. I mean, there is some.
Pretty much.
The public system is not as great, and grandiose as if you go to the private, obviously, right?
So or homeschooling.
Or homeschooling, but it's homeschooling is a little tough. Somebody's got to know what they're doing, so it's a little. That's one, and two is it's not easy, and that does require a lot of commitment. Your parents are working.
You got to find the right community too.
That is right. That is right. And again, I mean, you said it. I mean, there's a financial aspect of things, and sometimes you have no choice. You got to live, with your means, and everybody does that. Listen, I can relate to that story to a degree. I mean, I'm an immigrant too. I came to the U.S. I'm zero generation. You're like my son, my kids. I'm the one that just I'm an immigrant myself. Just like your parents. Came with a dream, and so it is a tough. And I can tell you, like I came into New York, with literally. I mean, I didn't come. I came for a job, and when that finished, that was a sweet deal for a full year, and then after that. You had to do your own thing, and so I had to come up to New York, not knowing anyone, with a small bag and a couple of $1,000s in my pocket. That's it, and you got to start from scratch, somewhere. And so it was a little, it's a little different, but it is still a challenge. So there are
Yeah.
different ways to grow in this country, in different, and
Yeah.
parts of the world too. I mean, there's it's funny because I was talking to someone the other day. And they said there's not just the American dream. There's many dreams out there. Some people have
Mhm.
the French dream, some people have the Dubai dream, some people have the Australian dream. But the fact is, people dream of destinations where they think they see themselves, doing things and getting better, and probably flourishing financially and socially and all the stuff, right? And there's a lot of pressure there. You come on, you wanted to say something, Francisco? Go ahead.
I'm I was just thinking like the opportunity is there. The system is still there, but the opportunity has even raised the roof. Like it's raised higher. Like we have higher opportunities with the internet, with our phones. We can learn from YouTube and Google and whatever technologies in our phones. Like we don't need to depend. And I think the younger generation is catching up to this. Like they can go to all these social media platforms and learn from anybody they want that they resonate with, and they can get mentorship and just learn from those types of people that they emulate and that they respect. And you know a lot of people are just caught up in the instant gratification, and there's also a lot of lazy people that they're not living up to their standards. And the biggest tool that we have is right in our pockets, is our phones. That's a big technology that a lot of us take for granted, and sometimes that's even better than the schooling system. Like you have all the schooling system that you need in your phone, in your pocket. You can buy books, you can watch a video and just learn from people like yourself. And the education should never stop. Like we should never stop learning at all. So we have it disposable in our pockets. So it's amazing where we've come from, and where we're at now. And it's just like the possibilities are there to be successful.
Thank you for stating that, because the historic thing worldwide was that you get a formal education. That was the traditional way. You grow up, you go to school, you get it, and that's a system that was designed, to create labor, basically, for the most part. And again, there's public and the private. Some of the private becomes executives and leaders and so on and so forth. And that, by the way, this is generalizing, but that's kind of like how it kind of was designed. I mean, really, you create this system where people can come in, trained in a way through the education system, in a format. You got to go up a certain hour, you got to finish a certain hour, and basically preparing you for what's going to come next, which is the job, and that's the labor, where you are basically part of the system, and you come in and we're the worker bees, technically, right? That's kind of like how the education system was. And to a degree still is. But what changed with the technology, like for example, back in the days, at least when I was younger, you wanted to have information, you go to library, that's where you get your information from, right? That's
Mhm.
all. There is nothing else. With the internet, with Google, with all these search engines, with the phones and the iPhones and all these smartphones now, the information now, as you said, the education has changed the way it is. And there's a let's differentiate. There's the formal education, and there's the education on the intellect. And sometimes that gets confused. I mean, having a degree doesn't make you very intellectual. Not having a degree does not necessarily mean that you're not intellectual. You can be intellectual and not having a degree, and vice versa. Now, a degree does help. It works because the system requires it. It's a piece of paper that's an accolade that actually gives you that entry point, or at least it eliminates, because people get, filtered by like the type of education. Like let's say the two of us, three of us, four of us, listen right now, want to apply for the same job, the difference will be like their resume, right? And then the experience and the degree. What school did you go to? Even if we have equal stuff, now you're going to start filtering with other things, like your extra skills. And that's how it works. But now, with, as you said, today, you have certifications. Google has these tremendous certifications that you can do, and there's plenty of other things out there. You can learn skills. You can become, like you said, and you mentioned like YouTube. You can learn anything you want on YouTube. You can be an expert at everything. I mean, there's AI applications that can teach you everything right now. So it's amazing where we are today in terms of the ability to learn and therefore to make you know money, financial gain, and really be independent in a way. And you're right, the newer generation is more hip to it, and and I encourage everyone. I don't care what generation you are. You got to catch up with the times, and you always have to be up to date with the tech. Otherwise, you will be a little too behind schedule. I mean, and we've noticed that a couple of years back when the computer was introduced. You know, the senior generation had a little bit more delay to get into it. Not today. The good news is everybody's got a phone. Everybody's attached to the internet, and so on and so forth. So there is that. So thank you for really bringing that up, because and we see it. People are making money. We have millionaires in TikTok and Instagram and social media,
Yeah.
influencers. It's a different way of earning. People are sharing value and they're getting revenue for it. Why not? So there's a lot of stuff. It's a world that's out there that is new. It's just the next generation of everything, right? So
Yeah.
yeah, go ahead.
So it's not always education is important to a certain extent. We have all the knowledge that we need at our disposal, but we do need application as well. We can read all the books that we want. We can get all the information that we want and get the research that we want, but we need to apply what we learn as well. If not, then we're just, using that knowledge and wisdom as nothing. So we got to learn how to apply that knowledge and wisdom as well. That's a huge difference as well. And the social media platforms, like if you're out there putting yourself out there, like trying to build an audience, we have to have something to, serve them with. Like, what are we going to provide for them as well? Like, what are you trying to sell? Like, are you trying to sell blankets, pillows, cars, whatever it is that you're skillful at or passionate about? You have to know that so that you can offer that to your people. And my skill set is teaching others how to live a healthier life, to be more mentally strong, to build a body that they want, to create the human that they want to be better at their nutrition, because a lot of people are sick and they're obese, they're pre-diabetic, they have diabetes, they have all these diseases. I don't know about you. I would expect you to see that in like the eastern area you're at in New Jersey and New York. I would expect a lot of people nowadays, they're super unhealthy, obese, and just sick compared to what you saw back in the day. I don't know how old you are, but in the 80s, it was way different than how it is now. There's more healthier people compared to what it is now, because there is an epidemic of diabetes, obesity, and the average American is 17 pounds overweight, probably even more now. But yeah, there's a true epidemic that's going on as far as like people's health, and it's scary, because we can see this with our loved ones, with our close ones. We see that they're not really in the best health, in the best form that they can be. So they're not really expressing themselves. They're not living in their full potential. So that's my passion, is just to help coach other people how to live a healthier, holistic life where they can, hold themselves accountable, and I can hold them accountable as well, so that they can live the life that God created them to be. Because I mean, we are images of God at the end of the day, and if we're not, taking care of ourselves, then we're disrespecting God at the end of the day. So we got to make sure that we truly respect ourselves, love ourselves, and put the application, not just the knowledge that's out there, into work, so that we can create that person that we want to be, so that we can help other people and love other people as well, and help others heal, because we can all heal one another. Like, you don't have to be a doctor, you don't have to be a chiropractor, you can be whoever it is out there in the street. You can help, you know, raise people, you can adopt a child, you can, pick somebody up from the ground if they're struggling. Like, that's healing in its own way. So we can all heal each other. And sometimes we get so isolated and caught up in our egos, and that's just ego, because we're just not where we need to be in life. So yeah, we need more of that. We need more healthy people, so that we can just be more clear on our path, so that we can help other people. And I'm just trying to clear up the fog that's caught up in people's minds. Like, I don't know, there's a lot of angry people because they're just not taking care of themselves, and they're not really in their right state of mind. So I'm just trying to bring more awareness to that and just, help people be better.
Well, thank you. And by the way, you're touching on a lot of things, and I will go back to the whole approach to the holistic stuff, to nutrition, all that. But I love what you said about the practicing part of things, right? Because you're right. I mean, we started the discussion about having the ability to learn, and we have the tools, but you're right. You can have all the tools in the world, but if you're not putting them to practice, nothing. I mean, talk is cheap. You got to talk the talk, walk the walk. It's a very common expression we hear all the time. But you're right. The one thing that that's it's funny because we could read a book, we could memorize a book, and it would just be a copy of the book. I mean, literally that's all there is. If you take a book and not be able to deliver what's in it, the information that you get from it, and dissect it and maybe deliver some of that, whatever you learn, then you're not doing anything, no service to anyone, and that book is basically just being copied into your memory, and that's all there is.
Kind of like the Bible.
Well, Bible, I mean, it's really, I mean, think
Any
about,
book. Yeah.
like back, I'm gonna give in our tradition, there is a some resemblance to this particular, item I'm gonna discuss. Like, so if you think about mules back in the days, right? They carry stuff. They can carry gold, they can carry books, they can carry information, but they have no clue what they're carrying, right? So, not to give the analogy that we are, but sometimes if what's the difference between us and and somebody, an animal that is not seeing the value, or anything that is alive that doesn't see the value, understand what's actually around them. If we don't, actually take that information, that's basically the light, right? That's basically the treasure that we have. We have a lot of that information. We have a lot of good stuff. We can't just have things and not do anything with them. We can't have carry information and books and all the stuff and be basically blank, so it doesn't make sense, right? So it is something that we need to apply in every single thing. I mean, even, we're talking about, you mentioned about taking care of yourself and the health, right? you know it is not easy to take care of your health. So it you're young, you think you got it, but as you age, things are not the same. And you said it well. I mean, we are obese, at least in the States. We see a lot of that, of that today. East Coast, West Coast, doesn't matter where you are. I mean, I think it's just the nutrition, the way we eat, the fast food, the processed food, and all the bad things, the sugary things. Everything we eat now is ultra processed, or bad for you in general, right? So it's not
Pretty much.
really, we're not eating properly. And you're right. So are we doing anything with the information? And by the way, people, as you said, people are watching things and getting stuff, but are they practicing, the stuff that they're getting? And that's the thing. We want to be enlightened, and that's really it. I mean, for example, the mission, at the NBC network is to, educate, enlighten, inspire, and motivate. So we want to enlighten people as to what's available. Now, someone can say, well, we already know this stuff. Well, that's great. Are you applying, or are you not applying? And if you say you're applying, well, great for you. That's a great thing. So are you sharing that? What are your applications? Because it's not just about us, it's also what we can do to help others, right? As you said, we can mentor people. We can, help somebody that is, having a difficult time in any shape, form that we can. You're doing the work. I mean, you choose the path of life coaching and helping people to get better. And ultimately, that's actually something that you're going to contribute into society with, right? And you're going to help people change their lives to better. But so I want to pause there and just want to go back to something about your career. You actually went to chiropractic specifically, and so have you practiced chiropractic, medicine? I mean, do you have, like, that
Yeah,
in
I'm a
you still?
straight holistic chiropractor. I'm actually at the office now, but I was just doing extra work here. Usually I'm up here throughout the week. And yeah, I'm currently a chiropractor. I've been a chiropractor since 2019. That's when I graduated. And 2020 hit, and I was working for somebody, and I got let go because of the pandemic, which was fine because I was miserable there, and it wasn't really what I wanted to do. It was more insurance based, more pain based. Now it's more holistic, vitalistic, just more straight chiropractic versus mixing in the insurance based system, which is more medical based, which is not really truly chiropractic. So I'm more straight, more holistic, more Eastern philosophy versus the Western philosophy that is infiltrated the United States. It's Western philosophy is more, we gotta drug people, we gotta give people medications, give them toxins, surgeries, um, vaccines, injections, all these types of stuff. It's all toxic overload for the human body. So I believe that we are born to heal naturally, like how God intended us to be. So that's a huge topic and a huge debate in itself. What I do as a chiropractor, I just simply remove any interferences that's happening within the spine, because the vertebral column is protecting the spinal cord and the brain connection. So if something is out of whack as far as your spine, your vertebrae, then there can be potential interferences or pressure on those structures. Could be the nerves, the disc, or the spinal cord in itself. So if you think of the spinal cord, you can think of it as a rope. And if it gets twisted, then the rope is not going to be the hose is not going to be flowing correctly, like a water hose. Like if there's like a bent area in the water hose, the water is not going to be flowing correctly. You can think of that within us, the life force that's within us, that's um, connected with the intelligence that's running the physical body, the brain, and the spinal cord. That's physical, but we also have that intelligence that's running that. So you could think of it as universal intelligence or innate intelligence. So it's the spirit that's out there and the soul within us. That's an extra. That's just more the spiritual side of things. As far as like the physical side of things, of course, you got the physical, you got the brain, you got the organs, you got your cells. That's more the physical things, and then you also have the emotions. It's just all connected. So I just simply remove the interferences within the body and let the body do the rest, because we all have that intelligence that we can heal naturally from within. It's not from outside, it's from within us. We got to take care of ourselves internally. So I came in the chiropractic space with the wrong intentions. I was doing it for the money. Money is important. We have to have money to create leverage and to be successful in life and to create opportunities. But I was doing it for the wrong reasons. Insurance pays more. So, but it was just like I felt like I was selling my soul, and I was glad that the pandemic hit and I was let go after 4 months of working there. So I was going to be there for 2 years. I mean, I would have stuck it through, but I was just doing paperwork. I wasn't really caring for people, and I was just upcharging people, just trying to sell people, which is important. We have to know how to sell. But it was just like more mechanistic. I was seeing people as machines, but human beings are not machines. We're more than that. Hence why it's a vitalistic, straight chiropractic approach that I practice, more Eastern versus the Western, where they see everybody as machines. We're living in a matrix right now in this westernized society where they just see us as batteries, as laborers, as slaves, as machines. So I'm past that like thought process. Like I'm trying to break free from the matrix and just help people wake up as well. So
Well, it's funny you touch in on all the stuff that I enjoy in terms of discussions. I mean, we can be here for a couple hours easy. Well, first of all, with the, because you're touching on some elaborate stuff, and I love that what we differentiate between the Western, medicine and the Eastern medicine, or the ancient arts of healing kind of concept. So, which is all holistic, and holistic means it's a little bit more than just the meds and stuff. You look at it from the body, the soul, the spirit, the energy, the whole nine. I mean, it's every single thing that makes who we are as humans. And a lot of the people, and I've had few shows that we talk about quantum stuff or energy based, healing and things like that. And it's really
enlightenment.
exactly, and but it is important stuff that we have forgotten. If you look at the ancient, civilizations and Eastern specifically, they use meditation, different things of healing process. There's the herbs, from at least the nature stuff, and so it's not just, as you said, it's not mechanical. We don't just treat the body, because the body is one thing, the mental state is another. So you have to actually make sure that sometimes it's all mental. You don't even have a physical problem, you just have a mental problem. So all these things have to be designed. But if we live in a world where What is your symptom? I got pain. Here's a pill, right? And by the way, that has, to a degree, it can work, right? But it is not. I've always said this: it has a place, but that place may not resolve the problem or the root cause of the problem. That's the
Yeah,
problem.
it's
So
for
so we can,
emergency,
yeah, we can do an emergency fix. That's good, but then how
and
do
there's
we
side
go?
effects to it.
Oh, well, that's a guarantee. I mean, I don't think there's a drug that says there's no side effect to it. Maybe there is. I'm not a pharma guy, but there's always a side effect, even if it's a mild stuff, right? I mean, it's funny because you look at any ad, right? When there's a drug ad, and they start like blurring that whole disclaimer about like all the different things that can go wrong. I mean, you hear
Small
that,
letters.
you do not want to talk about it. You don't even want to take that pill, but
Yeah, I don't
sometimes
even want to talk about it right now. They might censor us, or they might try to get me.
No, no, no. There is no censoring. There's no. I mean, we're talking. This is just a fact. We're not bashing anybody. Again, like I said, I mean, there is a need for medicine, right? And it's evolved, and there is a root medicine historically has been out there, herbalists and stuff like that. But then now we're more synthetic and lab, based and stuff. And so there's also an addiction factor because then that's the financial piece, as you said. The world is more today about money than about caring, and it's unfortunate, but that's the reality of things. We live in a world that is materialistic, capitalistic. We want more, we want more, we want more, and how much is more, and where does it stop, right? Sometimes we go beyond the fact of caring, and so it doesn't matter. As you said, you know, hospitals can be, sometimes just processing, people because it's just the way it is. That's how they make money, right? And you talked about insurance. I'm in the insurance space. If insurance is always looking at cutting, the expenses, and so now the facilities may have to up, charge things, to make sure that they can get more money for whatever services, so they get more services charged. And it's always that pull and tag and pull between the two entities, and that's difficult. Now you find yourself in the middle of it right after school, where you see yourself like, what am I doing here? I'm not helping. I'm just processing, bills and money and stuff like that, but I'm not seeing the care that I've actually got the education for. And so there's nothing wrong with that. I think that is commendable, and it's good work. And by the way, there's another thing that you mentioned that is very unique and powerful: the fact that you realized that this was not for you, and you chose your own path. And for some people, the tragedy of the pandemic was a blessing as well. And so many people have made that transition and became more free. And then that, I love what you said. I'm being freed from the matrix. Now anyone that watched the movie, the red pill, the white, the blue pill, that's a neo concept. But it's very similar to the life that we have. So it's breaking free, meaning that you're just basically not following the 99%. You're going through your own path, which is a different path, or maybe there's a smaller percentage. I think that percentage is getting bigger and bigger now. I mean, it used to be maybe 1%. Now I think there's more of a 10%. There are a lot of
I
people that
hope
are
so.
awake. I think people have, with what's going on now with the
Yeah,
internet and stuff, people are sharing information, so there's more of
especially
that.
what happened after the pandemic. A lot of truth was told, and a lot of people were waking up.
It is. But again, things happen. See, there's no coincidence. No matter what it is, how people orchestrate things, there's a plan, and so we can plan. But as you said, God plans. But God is the major, the mighty planner, right? So the fact is, no matter what we do, there's always a plan of a plan of a plan of a plan. Sometimes beyond what our mind can even comprehend. So there's all that. But you've chosen the path of doing better, helping more, and being more productive and helping folks do what they're supposed to do for their health and their life. And you moved away from that system in a way, and obviously I'm sure you still get paid because, again, I said money is important, we need it. It's a means to the end, it's not the end, and so we need to use it. But we I always say this: you don't want to have the money in your heart, you want to have your money in your hand. Don't let it get into your heart and soul. You just want to be able to control it. And yes, if you have it, you can control it magically, and that's it, and effectively. So the concept of matrix that you mentioned is powerful because you're right. There is a way things are done, and there's a way things can be done. And knowing the difference is up to everybody. Everybody watching and listening, it's up to them to make that decision. Like, again, you're just given the information, and they have to do it. And I love what you said. if you can get rid, for example, of all the bad things that can, or the interference, as you stated, that can interact with your spine and your nervous system and your, continuum, and maybe the disconnection between the mind and the body and all the stuff. All that stuff is important. Now you heal through, I guess, ancient stuff, or Eastern stuff. So let's talk about that specific, method of healing that you use, because most people think chiropractic is taking the spine, popping some bones, and just tilting the body to a certain degree, cracking some things, and that's about it. But there's more to it. If you can just at least explain to us a little bit the concept of the chiropractic, and then add to it the holistic approach to it.
So it just depends on the practitioner. How I approach it, I approach people spirit to spirit, soul to soul. I don't just see them as a physical body, because we're more than just a physical body. We're being ran through, innate intelligence, which is, another term for soul, or the intelligence that's coming from God or the universe. And we're connected with that. So I approach people very energetically. And I still, you might hear the noises whenever I do adjust people. You might hear the pops and the cracks, but that's not even the important part of it. So I don't even care, honestly, about people's pains, even though I do care for them and I'm there listening at that moment, because I already know people can heal. I already know they can get better. They have to put in the action with what the plan is, and um they have to execute the plan at the end of the day. Like I always tell them, like, you're gonna more than likely you're gonna feel better, but it's what you do after you get out of here. Like you can go back to your old habits, you can go eat like junk, like the junk food, and then that's only gonna create those interferences within you. Depends on your posture habits, it just depends on your stress levels, your emotional stress, and the physical trauma that you're doing. So it just depends what you do outside of the office afterwards and what caused this as well. So we want to get to the root cause so that you can be more connected to your path and be more aligned, not just physically, but to your purpose in life.
Well, so Francisco, so do you see more of people having physical, I guess, manifestation of pain and illness based on the lifestyles they conduct, meaning that they take on, like you said, bad food, bad behavior, working crazy, too many hours, not sitting properly, not doing the right thing for themselves. Do you see that being the root cause? And then how do you address that? I mean, because as you said, this is a whole change that you are presenting to these people. Like, they've been knowing this is the way, and now you tell them this is a different way. I sounded like Star Wars for a minute. This is the way. but the concept is there is a better way, and you cannot. I love what you said, soul to soul, energy to energy, that there's beyond that. But do you find that the main reason they show up in pain and stuff is because one is they're probably disengaged from their, I guess, energetic, self, or soul, or their spiritual, aspect of life, and or they just basically immerse in the hustle, the rat race, the day-to-day activities, and the crazy. Because I think that's the problem. That's the matrix. We are basically a robotic. We get up, it's the same frequency. We go up. We do exactly what we do. We eat the stuff that is out there, and sometimes we don't take care of business. And then before you know it, as you said, you asked me about my age. I'm 53, so I can tell you, you can get a beating in your body if you don't take care of it. So you have to maintain if you want to keep up the vitality. Matter of fact, I met someone yesterday, and we were talking about that. It's not so much that you're going to live long or less, because I believe everybody's got a timeline, and you finish that timeline, that's your expiration date, and you transit to the next world. But how do you go about going through this timeline is the most important thing. Do you go with pain and hardship, or do you go with ease and being very vital and enjoy every moment of it until the end? And so that's the difference. But if we do all the bad things and we keep the modality that has been, I guess, given to us as a system, and we just take that and we don't, take the time to reset and really review our way of doing things, and maybe adjusting correctly and putting measures in place to help us do better, then that's it. I mean, it's on us, right? Now, you are basically a vehicle, a medium that helps, and I don't mean the medium in the I guess the magician, magical
Yeah.
space, space. It's more about the I guess the person that is actually brokeraging this whole deal between you being in a bad place and I'm going to make you in a better place and take you to the next level and a different world of living. So what is your core take on this? I mean, really, is that it? I mean, is that what I just stated in terms of all the bad things, or there's more to it that we're just missing?
No, you pretty much hit it right on the nail. A lot of people are spiritually connected. They don't even know about their energy. That's why a lot of people have just like resting bitch faces. Sorry for the language, but they just have like mean mugs all the time. It's not because, they're in a bad mood. It's because they're more than likely spiritually disconnected. And a lot of people come up here because they're in pain. And I see it, like I can just see it because that's my job, is just to help, or I just analyze people because I can tell by people's posture and how they're carrying themselves. Like I can feel people's energy and how their energy is just like how they are in the moment. For example, if you see somebody walking across the street and they're like, or walking in public and they're all hunchback, or that says something, like their energy is being leaked. They're not really opening up their heart where they can fully express their heart, because our heart is a high vibrational frequency that we can give to other people. So that's just one example. So what I notice is a lot of people think that chiropractic is just pain based, but it's much more bigger than that. It's actually a disconnection of the intelligence that's running that physical, the show, the heart. So the heart is still pumping blood while we're sleeping. That's the intelligence that I'm talking about. So if there's a disconnection there, then just imagine what else is being disconnected as far as like your connection with God. And there's a lot of religious people out there, and back to the Bible, whenever I said, like, if you don't apply the Bible's teachings, like you can read the Bible all day and all night, every day. But if you're not applying it, then you're just being a hypocrite. Like if you're not taking care of your health, then if you're obese, if you're overweight pastor teaching about the Bible and you're unhealthy, then are you really living up to what God really wants you to be? Same thing with money. Like God wants us to have money, but if we're not making money, if we're being lazy, then we're not really living up to the word that is being taught in the book. So we have to apply everything. So um, with your age, like, I mean, it's perfect, and anybody can heal. I don't take any credit of like healing. Like we all have that responsibility of healing from within. So I just help facilitate, like you said, I'm a medium. Everybody should be a medium. I just help facilitate that process. If anybody needs help with that, like we're here. They did it even before chiropractic even existed, before the profession even existed. They did it in the eastern side of the world. Back in the ancient days, they would just heal each other. So we can still do that now, but we just somehow forgot because of the westernized culture that took over the United States and pretty much the world and the politics. So we have to remember that we are our own healers, and we can help other people heal by helping them be aware of what they're doing to their bodies and how they're treating themselves. With self-care, like you said, with your age, like it's important for self-care so that you can, sustain a longer life potentially, whenever that life, whatever your lifespan is. Like you want to live the best quality life versus the least quality of life, because you're going to be miserable. Of course, you're going to be in pain, and you're not going to be happy with your life because you might not know, or you might be confused, or they taught you wrong, and we got caught up in the system. So that's the number one thing I tell people. Like, I'm not healing you. I'm just simply removing any interferences within your body, within your spine, and then letting your body do the rest of the healing, because you already have that intelligence within you. And you also you have to take care of yourself outside of this office, even after I adjust your spine, after I help you get back into alignment. Like you still have to put in the work to get you where you want to be in life. Like you have to take care of your mind, your thinking, your nutrition, your movement. You still got to exercise and move your body, because there's so many benefits behind all that. Like you don't want to just provide your body with junk and comfortability, because then you're not going to be you're not going to be living a healthy, optimal state. So everybody should be doing that no matter what age you are, even babies, kids. Like we see a lot of babies here, because it just helps with their development as well. Like their neurospinal structure, is important in their early ages so that they can, um, develop good habits and just be on the right trajectory of life before tragedy even happens, before diseases. So I hope people get back in ease, because a lot of people are in dis-ease. I like to say dis-ease, not diseases.
Like
But
that.
a lot of people do come with symptoms and pain, but that's the last thing that I'm worried about. Like I want them to fully, um, be more expressful as a human being versus getting out of pain, because anybody can get out of pain with drugs, with all these other therapies that are out there. But are we really getting to the root cause, the root issue of the problem?
Well, thank you, and you touching again on a couple of things. One is, as you said, that you're aging. That's great, but you want to live happy. But here's the thing: if you're in pain and you're not, really doing, you're not in the best shape or fate, like I guess element, you're not going to enjoy life. You can travel, you can visit things, you can have fun with your grandkids if you have grandkids or your own kids, even at early ages, right? It could be a lot of things that you people will take for granted. You're gonna have a problem with, right? Because now you can't. I mean, whether it's just ADL activity stuff of their living, right, can be a problem. So all these things can be challenging if you're not taking care of yourself. And by the way, again, I love what you said that when we preach, we need to practice what we preach, right? And you give the example of a pastor who's given the word, and yet everything that he's preaching he's not doing himself or herself, and that's actually an important piece of life. We can talk about things, but again, we got to do, as you said earlier, we have to take action, we have to practice what we do, what we talk about. And so someone comes to you. You've mentioned the word alignment a couple of times. Now, in chiropractic, we hear it, you align the spine. But I think you're doing a little bit more than just align the spine. You're aligning their spiritual energy, the frequency, all that together with their spine. So now
Right.
they're really together, right? Now, let's assume, like for someone that's watching or listening right now, the question still is, well, how do you do that? I mean, I come to you all bent out of shape. My body's aching, my spine is twisted, my vertebrae are, maybe I have some herniated. I don't know, whatever I have. I come to you. That's the physical aspect. But how do you? And you notice that the energy is not there; it's off. How do you make those two alignments align? I mean, literally. I mean, you have the physical and the spiritual alignment in one session or a couple sessions as you do it. How does that practice work?
Well, where I come in as a chiropractor, I help people with their spine, obviously with their physical aspect. And if they want to go further, that's where the life coaching comes in. Anybody can do it at any given moment, but I help people just realign themselves and in their I realign them into their purpose, because everybody has a purpose in this life. Everybody was made special to do something out of our own lives. And we tend to get out of purpose and we live average, mediocre lives when really we have a superb or something special within us that needs to be expressed, that needs to be shared to the world. Everybody does, but not everybody is expressing that. So I hope people realize that and then just help them create that better version of themselves and create confidence in themselves by healthier habits, by self-inflicted pain. We got to struggle and sacrifice in order to grow as well. So I hope people, create a plan for them and to live, to have healthier habits as far as your mindset, your training, and your nutrition goes, because that's part of the equation as far as like the physical goes as well with chiropractic work. And
Well,
then you can be connected to the spiritual side of things. Once you're aligned within yourself and your purpose, you're answering the calls from consciousness, which is the voice from above. You can answer those messages that's coming to your consciousness, and now you're living life on purpose. You can fulfill what you have to do during the day, throughout your days, throughout the weeks, the years to come, however long you live, whatever it is that you need to you know share as your truth. So I hope people just realize that and just be more connected with that.
so thank you. So essentially, you're combining your chiropractic practice with the life coaching practice and life, I guess concepts that can, assist, in terms of changing all the bad things and all the root causes that are causing why their body is in pain. And through that process, you help them basically identify all the, you identify all the bad things that they've been, I guess, accustomed to over the years. And then you kind of give them new behaviors and train them, and coach them into like a new way of life, whether that be it, I guess to your point, in nutrition, workout, looking at, all the different things, being, more active, doing more things. Now, how does that journey work? If I come into you, let's say you physically figured that out. Now, as a life coach, what would that journey be like for me as a customer or a client?
Well, it just depends on what you're struggling with. Like a lot of people are struggling with vices, with alcohol, with drugs, prescriptions, and they just lose touch of themselves and their purpose. So we figure that out and then we create better habits and we change the disciplines, the core beliefs of that individual to change and become the better version of themselves because most of the people are sick. Like I said, they're just not living life in purpose. Like they're just going through the motions, like you said, and they're just caught up with the work, with the cycles of life. And we're much more than that. Like we need to just stay aligned and not get caught up in the distractions that's out there. That's another vice. And we need to stay aligned with our true purpose versus drifting. This is what it talks about in the book of Napoleon Hill's Outwitting the Devil. That's a great book. The devil's out there trying to drift people and, just trying to get you out of purpose, out of alignment with yourself and your purpose in life. So the thing is, we have to stay clear. We have to have clarity in our own mind, which, the mindset is super, super important to take care of. Mental health is important. A lot of men are out there committing suicide at a faster rate nowadays than back then. So it's super important to create that and instill those core principles and disciplines and good habits so that we can create that strong individual like how we were back in the ancient days where they would just go hunting for food and, provide for their families and not be in this depressed anxiety state. So I hope people just, create better habits and, get them sober, clean, because I used to live that type of lifestyle as well, where I was just dependent on drugs, alcohol, partying, drinking and driving, womanizing. So I got through that and I'm about to be 2 years sober. So I hope people get through that as well, because at the end of the day, that's not really a good thing to do. As men, that's kind of like a rite of passage where our fathers, they think that giving their kids a drink is, helping them become a man, but it really isn't. You're just destroying their lives. And, the age limit of, 18 or 21 is just a rite of passage. Like we don't need that at all. And there's a lot of deaths that happen with that, of course, with alcohol, and it's still legal. So a lot of people are just destroying their lives with, pleasures versus purposeful things in their life. So I hope people just realize that you have a purpose. Like you should be chasing purpose over pleasure.
Well, thank you, and that's big. There's a few big words you've used there. One is the mindset. The other two is purpose and pleasure. And you're right. People are conditioned to pleasure. And I love what you said about parents just kind of like, hey, you're 21. I mean, you hear this all the time. I'm going to turn 21. It's like, what's the excitement? Well, I can drink now. Well, you probably could have, you could still drink before 21. You're just not going to be able to do it in public or go to the bar and order a drink. But like, for example, in Europe, that's not the age, right? People drink it early. I mean, literally, if you,
Mexico too.
yeah, I mean, it's a lot of parts of the world you can drink at early age. So, but you're right. It's not, uh, what's the achievement there? Like, okay, you can get alcohol now. And so people start getting crazy with that. Like, finally, I can get this. And then you're right. People die driving. There's a lot of accidents that happen. I mean, that's why the insurance rates are expensive, when you're from 18 to 25, because that's where the highest risk of accidents are the majority are happening, right? So there's all these things. But you're right. The purpose should be something different to elevate to really go up to the next level and becoming something better and making something better of your life. But you're right, and I love what you said about you specifically being sober 2 years, which means you've been there, you've seen it, you know it better than most. And that's always a good thing when you're coaching someone. The first thing is like, well, what do you know about this, right? But if you have the history and you know what it was and how it was and what you are today and how you feel today, you can easily relate to that and you can easily show them what that is. And now people can take voucher, they'll take that from you because now they have something that is solid coming out of you because you've experienced the same. So that's an important piece. And I love what you said about the concept, just the mindset, because I was going to ask you, when people come to you, I mean, there's a good chance people are not willing to change. I mean, that's the hard part. I mean, a lot of people, when you face them with the truth, well, bro, you're going to have to change your behavior. Like, what do you mean? I'm perfect. I do everything. I'm happy the way I am. Are you really? And so now that debate comes in. But if someone is really open to like, I need to change, or at least to have someone help them change, that's a big difference. The problem that we have is that, like, I mean, ego is a big part of our human race, right? You know, you can't tell me what to do. I got this. Well, do you really got that? So these are some of the things. But when someone comes, they have to have the ability and the open mind that they're going to get a feedback that may not be what they expected, and that's when they have to shift their mindset. Like, you know what? Can I be here? And it takes some convincing. We use the word sailing, right? And it's important to sail. But it's more of consulting, advising. Listen, this is where you are. This is what's causing this. What do you want to do? You want to stay here or you want to do better? And the way you break it down can make sense. The way you present it. I mean, yeah, you're right. This is what's the problem. Oh, okay. Now, are you open to making some shifts? Yes, I am. And some I've had actually great guests, that has similar experiences that talked about how they were given the opportunity to rehab and stuff, but they still didn't do it. They still fake it, for a while until they get to a point when they're, no, this is not it. I have not committed. And it takes a commitment to make the change. Anyone, by the way, whether for success, for education, for life, for marriage, for kids, for whatever you want to do, you need to commit. For business, and health is the most important thing, because without it, nothing else matters, right? You cannot be good to anyone if you're not healthy. So all the stuff requires that confidence, the belief, and the ability to accept change, and the mindset that you want to shift from a negative to a positive, approach. And that's a difficult thing. Now, do you find that difficult with people? Like, when you address them to the core and you're like, hey, you need to make a change now. How does that work? What is your experience with that?
One of my recent people, like, he was just caught up in the drinking still, and he committed a month into the program, my coaching program, and he seemed like he was gonna do it, but then he told me that he was drinking every night, was staying at the hotel because he had just gotten through a breakup, a recent breakup. And, I talked to him like days after he found another woman, but was still caught up in the alcohol. So it's a little bit more difficult for them to change if they're still drinking, caught up in the vices. So um, sometimes people have to learn the hard way in order to, sometimes they have to hit rock bottom, like, even more in order to change. So he had the plan, he just didn't execute. So I felt for him, like, I kind of felt bad, but at the same time, it's his experience and he has to learn on his own. At the end of the day, he's a man of his own. I'm not gonna like pressure him. I'm gonna lay out the blueprint. You just follow these footsteps, and more than likely you're gonna get the results that you want, as long as you're honest with yourself. Because I'm gonna give you the training, I'm gonna give you the mindset. I'm gonna keep you accountable, and then you're gonna get the nutrition plan, which you want to look better, you want to feel better. Feeling good about yourself and confidence and building up that man that you want to become is super important, so that you can create a valuable person, so that you can have the respect that you want, and that the respect that you want out of the world and for yourself, and the love. So he had it, but he didn't even commit. He just worked out maybe once or twice, and he got caught up in the alcohol. He just like ghosted me. So it just depends if you're ready or not. Like, most people, I would say, are not ready, but some people are. Like, I got this one person, he weighed 290, and he's at 230 right now, which is amazing. And he was at the verge of taking all these prescription medications for his thyroid, all these prescription medications, because he was super unhealthy. And he just decided enough is enough, and he reached out to me. And now he's better. He's in a better state. He's feeling better. I just talked to him today, and there's no turning back from him. He's never going to go back to that. Hopefully he's not. Fingers crossed. I don't think he is. So he just created better habits and just realized that he has a bigger purpose than just being overweight, 290. He wasn't really, I'm pretty sure he was not getting the respect that he wanted from other people, his wife. And, now he's changing the trajectory of his family as well, because his family is following him, as a man, as a leader of the household. You're leading your family. So now he's changing his life. Now he's changing his kids' life and his wife's life as well. So it just depends if you're ready for that, to let go of your vices. Again, going back to the Napoleon Hill, outwitting the devil. There's vices out there that will drift us out of our purpose, and our job is to stay clear as much as possible as far as our mindset, and just know that we have a purpose to reach, better relationships, better success in life, whatever it is that you want, that you desire. Like we need to stay aligned with that and be clear of that image, and not drift away with the vices, with the drink, the alcohol, the drugs, the womanization, the porn, the video games. And I help people just realize, like, there's so much more out there in the world that you need to focus on, that you need to better yourself in, so that you can stay aligned on that purpose. So everybody should be ready, but like you said, ego gets in the way. Nobody wants to help. But in reality, if you find somebody that has the results, and that's helping other people get the results, and helping others in whatever way or form that is, then they can time lapse that. You don't have to figure it out. You don't have to go on your phone, Google search it, and just experiment. Like, you already know that that person is getting results. He's helping others get results. So why can't you not be that next person to change your life, versus, playing the guessing games, like figuring out like what type of nutrition plan you need, what kind of training plan you need. A lot of people go to the gym and waste time. Like, they're just there to work out. And there's a difference between working out and training. Like, you should be training at the gym and not wasting time working out. I mean, something's better than nothing, but if you're in the gym, you better go hard. You better have a plan. If not, then you're wasting time. So that's in all areas of our life. We got to be intentional with our time and what we want to get out of that we're spending our time on, such as the gym, such as the kitchen, such as our relationships, such as all our goals.
Well, thank you. And again, you give great examples of two almost opposite outcomes for two different people. One was committed and realized that there's a point where I need to change, otherwise things are going to go really bad,
Yeah,
and
he was gonna
committed to.
die.
Well, I mean, died, and then it affects the relationship, affects everything around you, right? So it's everything, all the above. But now he's seeing the fruits of his sacrifice and his commitment, discipline, all the stuff. And there is no coming back. When it's like you get the taste of it now. It's like you're tasting money, right? You're tasting something that is pleasurable. That is a pleasure when you feel healthy and stuff. It's exciting when you actually feel the energy. Boy, I mean, I'm feeling so much energy that I've ever had. Well, guess what? That feeling is literally exciting. It's like all your senses are like hyper, right? And it's like getting a high, right? So it's a great thing. On the contrary, when someone is still caught up in the addiction and things like that, it is draining. It is difficult to pull out. I mean, it's like an anchor that is pulling you down to the bottom of the ocean, and you can't really release. Now you can with some help, but again, as you said, you're as a coach, you give the blueprint, you give the whole nine, you give the plans, but it's up to someone to take the action. If they don't take the action, it's on them. You can't do it for them, right? You can take a horse to the water, but you can make it drink. Well, that's really that expression applies all the time. You can only show people the road and give them the guidance and the instructions and really the steps. It's like it's a cookie cutter. You do 1, 2, 3, 4 steps, and you're gonna start seeing 1, 2, 3 results. And the sooner you get with the program, the sooner you start seeing those changes, and now you're gonna feel better. But if you're not, again, committed, and this is the thing, people get motivated easily, but can they keep motivation? That's the problem. Motivation goes up and down, it drops. It's the discipline that goes along with it. So
Yeah.
how do you work with people to get them into the discipline mode?
I just educate them. I tell them what works for me. What works for me is going to work for you, or it might not. We're completely different people. And, the energy, especially, like, we have to work towards that high frequency energy every day, because when we wake up, sometimes we wake up angry, we feel low, we feel guilty from participating in all those vices and the partying or the regrets. So we feel guilty or regret, and that's a low vibration frequency energy. And we want to work towards the enlightenment. Like you said, your show is about enlightenment, and that's a high frequency vibration. We want to work towards that. And the highest frequency, FYI, I just want to share this. The highest frequency is authenticity. Love is up there as well. Enlightenment is up there as well. But if we're in guilt, shame, anger, desire, then those are low frequencies. And I hope just people realize that, so that they can work towards that feeling of just being unstoppable. Like, I'm creating a monster, a beast that can, be forced to be reckoned with. And, that's just, we have that unlimited potential within us. And I hope people realize, like, there's hope. Like, you don't have to give up on in life. Like, you still have a lot to give and offer in life. Like, you have a gift, and everybody does. Everybody's special in their own way. So I hope realize that, and like help them structure a program in their own life, a plan that's actually going to benefit them versus, not benefit them and just lead them to their demise and get caught up again in the matrix. So I help them break free from that, so that they can free themselves and build better relationships, build a better persona, a better character in their life. It's kind of like a video game character. Like, you want to build the best character in your movie and your video game, and just so that you can attract what you want out of life as well, with that positivity that you're creating within you, that the habits of being a better version of you by putting in the work is creating.
Well, it's funny. I'm listening to you, and you're giving these analogies about character in the movie and the game, and also you're talking about the Matrix. It is all the same, in a way. I mean, we don't realize that, but that's reality, right? In a game, a character has the ability to gain, to get shields, to get coins, to get this, to get that, superpowers, all the stuff, to get, and the more. I mean, some of these games, they don't end. These things don't end, right? You keep going and getting better and better. And in life is the same thing. We have a confined world, and we have a confined time space, like time frame, and we need to do all these things, to get there. And we have all the tools available to us, but we gotta go for them. You gotta go and get there. And I love what you said about getting to those high frequencies. And in the morning, uh, everything starts there. If you start with the negative space, and your mind is like in the gutter, then that's what your days are gonna look like. If you start with like, I'm great, I'm doing good, a couple of push-ups, maybe a little pump, early on, get a nice little breeze, maybe some sun rays, like, and I don't I mean, it's all good stuff, right? It's the concept that you need to get started, so we can get a better life. And by the way, these are things that are applicable, and we know that they work because millions of people are doing this, and they seeing the difference, they seeing the change, they're seeing the improvements in their life, and they talk about it. I mean, a lot of people have transited just like yourself and became coaches because they saw the value that they're to them, and then now they're sharing with people. I mean, it's almost like viral stuff. Like, you feel it, like you want to give it to. It's contagious, right? You just don't want to keep it for yourself. You want to, like, oh, this is great stuff. It's like a drug. I want to give it to everybody, but it's a good drug. This addiction is good. If you can get addicted to discipline, to high energy and frequency, as opposed to vices, that's a good one to do it. But yeah, and that's just a way to look at it, right? It's the same thing, right? What is a drug? I mean, it drugs you, right? It can numbs your feeling, or it can get you hyper, like, in the case of caffeine and all these things. Well, here it's a high for a high. I'll take the high altitude here, and high attitude with the high energy, as opposed to low frequency, low altitude, and all stuff. So thank you so much for breaking that down. Now, what does your program consist? I mean, how long will your program last if someone wants to join the program? Like,
I
what
always
the
recommend
expectation?
at least committing 3 months. I do have a month program that's $299. 3 months is $750. 6 months is 1200, and then a year is 2000. And then I do have an elite, which is more one-on-one, My basic one is more group calls every week, and then the elite is more in person, more one on one, and that starts off at I think 1,300 for 1 month, and then for 3 months it's 3,000.
Now, this is anywhere they can call. Is it like virtual or is it in
Yes,
person
anybody
physically?
can do it. Yeah, it's online coaching. So I provide the blueprint, the mindset, the training, and the nutrition blueprint, the plan. And I hold you accountable. That's what most people need is accountability. They need a structured plan, and you can go to a regular gym, and they're going to charge more than I charge. They charge usually what, $200, $300 at Equinox or Crunch for 1 month, and they don't even give you a nutritional plan. So, if you commit to even 1 month, that's $10 per day. So it's super affordable. So don't think about the price, just think about the outcome, the feeling that you're going to get, because that is priceless. Your health, the better version of you, of whoever's interested, the outcome is priceless of just becoming the person that you respect, the person that you want to create. And, the proof is in the pudding. You can look me up on my social media, my Instagram at Dr. Francisco Guerrero. And, I'm always constantly showing what I'm doing. I'm always up at 2:45, up just showing people, being at the gym at 4 every day, and just showing my people my habits, my nutrition, my foods. And I'm posting every day. And, I never miss. I take pride of that. And I want people to be as disciplined as that so that you can create the better lifestyle for you and your people.
Well, thank you for first of all, thank you for breaking it down in terms of like the price and stuff. Because sometimes people like, well, what is it going to cost me, right? And there's a couple of things. Most people say, well, maybe too pricey, maybe not too pricey. But when you start breaking it down, as you say, it's $10 a day. What else can you get today for $10? If you have an addiction, the least addiction will probably be more than $10. If you have alcohol, you're going to spend more than that day. If you're smoking, you're going to do a lot more than $10 for a pack of cigarettes these days. So all the bad habits, a couple of coffees right now are more than $10 if you actually have, a couple a day, beverages.
Most of
And
those things don't work.
well, I'm saying I'm just going like value to value. Like people would spend that kind of money in those things, but they would probably be less, excited about spending it on maybe like a mentorship or
Personal
training or coach.
development, yeah.
Exactly.
Self
And
development.
that's right. And you know what? I think personal development, self-development is a key. Your health is the key. I mean, you want to invest. You can invest in destroying your health, or you can invest in making your health better.
Yourself.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Your choice. I
Invest in
mean,
yourself.
remember, I love what you said. You try to get people out of the matrix, but it's up to them to take the pill. You're the red
Yeah.
pill. They want to stay with the blue pill. They can spend the $10 on the other products, or they can spend the $10 on your red pill and get better. And I love what you said. Like you are showing by example. You people follow you. Your people are going to be seeing the action. This is not just you talk. You're literally up there in the morning at the gym doing your thing, showing the nutrition, and that makes a big difference. And by the way, I've had great discussions with a lot of coaches, and they all have the same thing. And that's one thing I admire is that they don't just talk; they actually show. And you follow them. I follow everyone. They're all doing exactly what they promised and that they shared with with the public, and that's really a big deal. And the discipline is the key. And again, sometimes you need just that guidance. You need to see someone that you want to like copy from or emulate, right? If I see you doing it, gives me encouragement, like because if I do it myself, I may be late. Like you said, laziness can be a killer, and when I see like you're my lead right now, so you're doing it, I'm gonna do it with you. Maybe I'll get up at 2 o'clock too and start pumping, whatever the case may be. But it gives me a little bit more of an incentive to do things when I see that my coach is really active. So thank you for sharing that, because maybe sometimes people don't share all the details, but you were open about them, and that's great. And I love that you have different programs for different people, different length, groups versus individuals. And, and again, you're right. I mean, there's a lot of personal training, but that's just a personal training. Even if there's a good and you pay the money, but it's only for one aspect of your life, you're given more. This is the nutrition, the other, the psyche. And, now physically, I mean, you can even help them, I guess, remotely to do some maneuvers to help their posture and things like that. But, if they're local in the Texas area, they probably can even visit with you. So there's that opportunity there as well.
Yeah.
So we've covered a lot of grounds, dude. Is there anything else we want to share with our audiences?
No, that's about it. Yeah, I appreciate you having me on here. It's been a great time.
No, no, it was fun, man. And these are topics that I enjoy, and again, it keeps me motivated. Just listening to these discussions and being part of the discussion keeps me like on point as well, because I kind of need to be always doing what I need to do to keep the body, the shape, the mind, the whole thing, and keeps the energy flowing. I mean, energy flow is a big deal, right? If your energy is like on a decline, that's a problem. We want to keep it up, 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 but you can only keep it
Exactly.
up by literally feeling. I mean, the energy. I mean, we are through the time zones right now through technology, but I still feel that, right? I can get
Yeah,
it from your messaging, right? Your talk about how it works and what it does. It gets like someone like excited about it, right? So that's the thing. Well, so thank you literally for coming on and for sharing the value. And certainly, now where can people get in touch with you?
they can find me on my social media, my Instagram. I'm usually active on Instagram. I'm on TikTok. It's Dr. Francisco Guerrero. The doctor is spelled out. It's Francisco Guerrero.
No, no, the website. I have a website that I'm looking at, Holistic Fit Doctor. That
Oh yeah,
that
that's for my coaching program. But if you want, you can just message me about it on Instagram if you're more interested in that and just want more information on that.
Okay,
So
perfect. So I'll put the Instagram on the description, and that will lead them to you directly, and then they can connect with you and move on from there. So that would be easier. All right, good. All right. Well, any last, I guess, words of wisdom you want to leave our audiences with before we close the show today?
I just want to say the longer you wait, like the worse, it can get. Procrastination is the life you could have lived. So we need to learn how to stop procrastinating and just take action and just listen to what our hearts want us to do. And, invest in yourself, like we said, and invest in people that are out there, doing the thing, because people are willing to teach you. You just have to bring value to them as well so they can teach you. So you have all the tools disposable to you. You just have to take forth the action and just, ask or bring value into that person that you want to learn from in whatever field that is. So don't be afraid. Yeah, just take action.
Thank you. Take action, folks. I mean, action is everything, right? So
Exactly.
Francisco, thank you so much for being with us and for the valuable insights and really words of alignment here. Um, so we're coming to the end show, folks. So I hope that you've taken some stuff. Now, if you do need extra help, whatever you're not sure or you want someone to guide you, please reach out to Francisco through his Instagram, and then the rest is history. You guys can take it from there and make it work. So that being said, American Age. We'll be talking soon. New day, new show, new topic. Bye for now.